Welcome back, everyone. Those of us who were on the previous session had a fantastic time. We've had a very quick turnaround, so I'm hoping everyone was able to practice their pitches overnight and they're ready to go. Jeremy will be steering this session again. He will introduce our panelists who'll be here to give you some fantastic feedback on your pitches. We've talked to you all about the process and the way in which today is going to work ad nauseum, so I think you all understand that. So I will now happily hand back to Jeremy to drive the pitch session. Good luck, everyone. I look forward to watching them.
Excellent. Thanks, Elizabeth. Yeah. So as I mentioned just before we took the break, the way this is going to work is it's going to be pretty fast and furious. We've got 9 of you pitching, 3-minute pitches. So which, as you've found out, are really tight. I mean, there's not much time to go into lots of detail on team or favorite color or name of your dog. And then we'll try and save that the remainder of the 8 minutes for Q&A. And we've got a fantastic panel here to drill you, to give you advice, and to ask questions. So why don't we go around and get each of our panelists just to give a quick introduction. Like I mentioned, we've got an investor perspective and a corporate or client perspective as well. So Francois, do you want to start with giving the introductions?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. Hi, good morning or good evening, everyone. I'm Francois. With a name like Francois, you know exactly where I come from. French, I've been in London for about 30 years, all my life in technology. I've been on both sides of the investor table, and I help today companies through a program called the Fundraising Bootcamp. I help companies in their expansion stage to get funding from the top venture capital firms and investors.
Brilliant. Let's stay on the investor side. Alessandra?
Yes, hi, I'm Alexander. I'm half Swiss, half French. And I have been for quite some time in corporate investing with Visa in San Francisco. I have done there also a lot of new product development. Then I came over to London and I started angel investing, had a couple of companies myself, so I have a little bit all angles, and now I'm in the process of raising a fund.
Brilliant. I'm aware that we've had, 8 or 9 presenters today, and none of them, only one of them have been British so far, but we're adding to that slowly. Jim, do you want to introduce yourself? Hi, Jim. I actually can't see who's here.
Can anyone hear me first of all?
Oh, there we go. Yes, perfect. Thanks, Jim.
I just can't. I've only just joined on, so can you see me? I don't know if you can see me, but hi, it's Jim Kite here, the founder of Tech Pilot. I'm a marketing and media person for the last. Sorry, just got to start my video. Later, I don't need the video. Media and marketing for a number of years, B-Sky B, McCann Erickson, and for the last 15 years for Publicis Media. Done everything from strategy to insight, global client management. But in the last 5 years, ran a startup program called Next Tech Now, which was designed to find startups, evaluate them, and actually get them activated on our clients. And we did this about 250 times. So very much in the discovery side, but also seeing great solutions and working with agencies and corporates of actually getting them their first projects and hopefully for scaling them up. Left Publicis and now actually do this for all agencies and corporates under Tech Pilot.
Brilliant.
Looking forward to the pitches.
Lots of experience in making these connections, and I'm sure some great advice coming your way from Jim. We can hear you very well, Jim. We can't see you yet.
All right.
But no problem if that doesn't work.
That might.
And then the last person is Andy, who's very illustriously represented by an icon there. Andy.
Hi, Jeremy. Good morning, everybody. Apologies, I've just seen, I think I put myself on screen, but that might be a hangover from my son using this for a Zoom call previously, so I'll try and fix that background for you.
You look like you're in the...
Yeah, so good morning. My name's Andy Stewart-Stanton. I have worked in financial services for a very long number of years now in the proposition side, and have worked with Jeremy more recently when we were looking at some innovation stuff within Roll London. So really looking forward to hearing your pitches.
Brilliant. And Royal London, for any of you who have not heard of them, are one of the big pension and insurance, life insurance houses here in the UK. I hear that 1 in 9 Brits have a pension investment or a life insurance policy with Royal London. Is that right, Andy?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, a very impressive stat. We're a mutual, so we're completely owned by our members as well, which makes us fairly unique and really good perspective on the consumer side.
Excellent. So you're going to have 2 very different perspectives on your pitch today. And some of you I know are looking for investment or corporate investment, and some of you are looking more for partnerships or clients. So our panelists can offer you 2 great perspectives on that. The way this is going to work is I would really encourage you to use this as a chance to practice your pitch. This is not about writing checks or about doing any deals today. This is very much a friendly panel that can give you real advice from people that are living and breathing either the investment side or the client side. They'll drill you on what's clear and what needs to be developed further. And they might also be able to offer recommendations on how you might want to establish yourself here in the UK, connections you might want to make, or they might also help you with connections from their own network as well. And then the last thing our panelists will be doing is not just giving you advice, but also if we've got time within that 8 minutes, there might be time to get advice from your cohort as well. So do take a note of each other's pitches. I think you can learn just as much from giving your own pitch and receiving feedback on that as you can from listening to other people's pitch and hearing feedback or giving feedback on their pitch as well. So please do lean in, not just for your pitch, but for all 8 others as well. And after you've done your 3-minute pitch, one of the things we've encouraged the panelists to do is start with any clarification questions. That's important so that they can give the right feedback, but it might also help you to understand what's not necessarily clear in your presentation. They'll then give you feedback on the pitch. And then the last thing they'll do, if they can, is offer recommendations or connections with who to, where you might get started to launch in the UK. So how about we kick this off? So I sent through the order of the companies presenting, but our first company is Credentia. And so from Credentia, we've got Terry, who's going to be presenting. So the way this works, Terry, if you can share your screen, take us through the pitch, and then we'll jump straight in with feedback and questions from the panel. I assume we have Terry. Yes.
Hi, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, just looking to share from my, oh, here we go, got it. Desktop. Can you see it now?
Not yet.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, good
Thanks,
stuff.
Terry.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for affording the time today. Francois, thank you as well for giving us a good critique the night before last. Hope you're all well. My name is Terry Jones. I am the Managing Director of Credentia. What we are is a digital platform, enterprise level, that basically does contractor and workforce verification. Where we're different in saying that, because there's a lot of connotations to workforce verification, we actually incorporate biometric identification. In the UK, we're actually just rolling out our liveness identification as well, along with monitoring and management. We also have back to source verification for every single worker in any sort of project. Our main verticals that we're working in at the moment are mining in Australia, and through a white label partnership with one of the largest contractor health and safety groups in the UK as well. We've also been dragged in via the COVID-19 pandemic. We've been signed off as a CCS supplier for COVID-19 in the UK, and also through the Department of DISER in Australia as well. I guess really quickly, since this is speed dating, my background, I guess the common thread is supply chain, procurement risk. I've been involved in private and public companies. I've been involved in scaling up mainly through buy and build and aggregation strategies in other industry sectors. Where I'm here to hope to gain some insight and assistance is really having what we believe to be a world beater that's already getting traction with some tier 1 clients to really get some assistance in making the full move into the UK, and also having boots on the ground, and also introductions into new verticals. Our team, we're all a bunch of silver hairs. We've all had P&L responsibilities. Some have been founders before previously. We've all had a global focus in our remits, and that's the way that we're pitching the Credentia product. What it is, basically the problem that we're solving or trying to solve is that compliance can be as either self-managed or it can be regulated. It depends on what you're looking to offer and what level of risk a company is willing to take. For us, we're kind of in the business of, if something gets messed up or somebody doesn't have the right credentials and someone dies or there's a horrendous event, you need to have complete traceability down the supply chain. So we offer that from 3 different levels: at the enterprise level, at the subcontractor level, and down where it gets really, really dirty with the individuals, knowing that whoever comes on site, you know who they are, you know they have a right to work in the country, and you know that their credentials are verified to perform the tasks that are required. How we do this is basically we start off with a biometric ID. The individual takes a selfie, or in the UK, they're starting to roll out with basically a liveness check. The documents are scanned for altering, tampering. Then from there, we look for all kinds of, we've got some machine learning that we use, or we go through back to the source to verify the actual documents are in place. The benefit of this is that we take enormous cost out of business, particularly in day 1 in mining. Some of the miners that we're dealing with, it takes $400,000 or $500,000 out in a maintenance exercise in the first day, and tens of millions over the course of a year. We also have had agreements in place with insurance companies because we de-risk to the point where these verified credentials of individuals can be used to re-rate insurance. And also it's portable. Unlike going through the same process and having duplication and triplication for the enterprise and also for the individual, we create a digitized passport that can be portable and taken from job to job to job, and from different company and different contractor. And that cost that's taken out, that duplication's taken out. The only time you have to add any further cost once you've gone into a new environment is if there's a new credential or an expiry event, and it's 24/7 real-time monitoring as well, with escalating warnings. We've done an amazing COVID pivot. We didn't mean to. We were dragged into this by our clients. To date, we've provided COVID health safe passports, verifying at a risk level or in compliance with existing government standards, 11,000 verifications in the UK and in Australia since April. And it looks like we'll be doing a lot more with our partnership that's coming out of hibernation in the UK, where they're marketing to their 35,000 companies and 1 million individuals as well. This also applies to the return to work and potential immunity certificates that are coming in place. And we have been in discussions and in an evaluation through DIT with NHS as well. The good thing for us is when people ask who our main competitors are, it's usually either a system that is a self-verified system, or it's the office team that basically does all the photocopying, or it's a spreadsheet. We eliminate all of that, and it's reusable, it's portable, and also in terms of the cost, it's a low-cost aggregate piece of kit, because we basically tend to take an aggregate approach as an enterprise partner, meaning that we have partnerships in place with Microsoft, SAP, Apple, and our bit is we do the verification. That can feed in by way of API or integration into other enterprise systems. We can take those disparate systems and bring all of that information together, and then optimize all of the data back from a risk perspective, a procurement perspective, and also security perspective. Where we're at the moment, I mentioned that our UK partnership has begun with the Health and Safety Group. We're providing a white label product for that. The group is called CHAS, Contractor Health and Safety. They're sort of a Quango. It's the boroughs of London, basically, but their client list goes beyond boroughs. Mercedes-Benz and Manchester United are also clients as well. In Australia, we've got our enterprise client list will be up to 3,500 companies by the end of 2021. And basically, we take a top-down approach. So we work with companies that have multiple hundreds of thousands of subcontracting companies, and we do the dirty work by each individual, whatever the matrix was, whatever the tenders were awarded to, we actually verify each individual job description and each individual that's carrying out those jobs. The opportunity, basically, we've invested 10 million into this already.
Just to let you know, you're now at 7.5 minutes.
Oh, sorry, I'll stop.
For your pitch. I mean, you can keep going, but you will not have any feedback. It's totally up to you how you use the 8 minutes. But...
We're done.
Cool.
Thanks.
Okay. There we go. So we've got time for one quick question or piece of feedback.
I can jump in if you like. And so thanks for the pitch. I took notes, so I'm looking down and typing, not because I'm doing my emails. It's notes about you. So I'm going to be straight. This is not a great pitch. You're in a fantastic industry. I love what you do, and the market is about exploding. So if you come and set up and expand in the UK, you have an outstanding market target. It's literally, I can't explain how pervasive ID security and verification of workers has become, especially in post-COVID. People returning to work are not those who claim to be. A lot of workers, especially blue-collar workers, are now using systems to either get benefits or not show up for work. Fantastic opportunity, but my God, you've made this complicated. I have no idea what you do. I'll take a few examples. You started straight out of the back to say, oh yeah, we're a DISA and CCA approved. I have no idea who they are. I'm not even sure they're relevant over here. But if they are, you're going to have to get rid of all that jargon. Number one, talk to me like I'm your neighbor. I'm not from the industry. I don't understand what you do. Take one or two examples. You mentioned something about we're kind of in the business of, well, you know, if somebody's dying, we can verify who's coming on site. I don't understand. I'm sorry, and maybe I'm thick, but I'm missing the whole point. In the same sentence, verifying death and somebody on site, I'm struggling with that. So you're going to have to put compartments and explain the different businesses and targets that you have. Your team, at this stage, when you're coming in, people are going to have to back you and your team. You have a really senior team, and I saw that in the details when I saw the deck. You're not expressing any of that. You're not expressing the companies they've worked for, the titles they've had, the responsibilities they've had, and therefore that you are a pair of really good executive safe hands. You have to make sense of that. Use, drop names and drop logos. Make sure that people realize you guys have done this before. Number 3, format. You clearly can't keep to 3 minutes, so rewrite the whole thing, chuck 80% of what you have. And number 2, you're going to have to express what you do. What you do is amazing. The market has been waiting for you. Just try and make it a bit more compressed.
Thank you, Francois.
Brilliant advice, Francois. Well,
yeah, and just quick for me, the marketing guy. I mean, obviously, the only slide I really liked was the green background because it just had fewer words. I think there is an advice here, and Francois said this as well. Very simple. You're going to be pitching to people when you've got them for 3 minutes, for 5 minutes, for 15 minutes, and 30 minutes. Address your presentation to the audience, and if it's a short one, it's fewer words. But
the shortest pitch I've ever done has been about an hour, and that's so exactly. I did not know how I was going to do this.
And you don't get by speaking quicker. That's not the way it is. All right, but great product.
Maybe one more thing from my side, very quickly, Terry. I agree with everything Francois said. The clear pitch. And one very, very important message from my side is when you pitch the first time, like you just did to us, it is about making the investor hungry and more curious. Nothing else. It's not about informing about everything, but you want to make a very short pitch, 3 minutes, so that at the end, the investor will say, wow, I want to know more about this company. You don't need to give him everything. Just make him hungry. Make a sugar, and the guy looks at it, and he said, okay, I'm going to buy it. That's what you want to do. Two other thoughts very quickly. I saw nowhere anything about GDPR. I imagine when you do ID verification, when you have all sorts of personal data, that there is maybe something about this too you want to just mention. And me being originally from the payment industry, I have done a lot around authentication, ID, etc. So I have also not, you always speak about mining, etc. But it will be interesting maybe to know also something more about vertical. But most important message, make them hungry. That's your objective. You want to have a next meeting. That's from me.
Absolutely. That
Thank
is
you.
brilliant advice. Thank you, Terry. All right. Lots to work on there. And hey, guys, to do a 3-minute pitch, it takes 3 minutes to practice it. It's not that hard. So please make sure you practice these things. Let's go on to our second company, Overdrive. And from Overdrive, we've got Erwin. Terry, if you want to unshare your screen and then Erwin can share yours, that would be great. And let's kick this one off.
I think Jeremy's going to be holding that clock and then, kicking you out. So be warned.
Well, I tell you what I'll do is I'll send you a chat message on Zoom just to let you know when your 3 minutes is up, and then we can try and make sure you save some room for questions, because I think we've got a huge amount of wisdom here from the panel. Erwin, over to you. Seamless. When we can't see your screen, if you think we can. There we go. Perfect. Thank you.
The operating system, providing enterprise fleet and mobility solutions. I come from a very experienced and proven team across finance, automotive and technology. And we've got a proven history of commercialization and records, which we can share with you later. We're in the smart fleet management market. It's a huge market, 537 billion by 2025, CAGR of 8.9%, with 150 million vehicles globally. We're solving problems of low utilization rates of company vehicles, with less than 45% of those cars actually being used. Poor cost control and vendor management, inefficient, unscalable back-end operations, and disjointed and unconnected reporting. Overdrive provides an ecosystem that represents the way a fleet management company would work. We tie in payments, suppliers, drivers, vehicles. We tie it all together and we focus on costs to provide real-time cost control for enterprise with fleets. Our clear differentiators is that we're focused on transactions and payments, not the way a car is used. We don't follow the car around. And we're device and data agnostic, and we're AI powered, so creating a networking effect across customers' use, which increases reliance and solution, and dependence on our solution over time. We currently have a growth rate of 1,500%. We're now over 28 countries. We have 5 partners across those countries, and now 2,380 cars under subscription. You can see in our pipeline, we've got 160,000 cars. We recently just signed Nike, who's now a full paying customer across 22 countries. So it's a pretty exciting time for us. Our business model is monthly subscriptions per vehicle per month. We also provide a managed service for our customers that are under-resourced. They can subscribe to our car sharing platform if they want to increase utilisation rates on their vehicles, and that's improving the way that company cars are shared across the workforce. That's per employee, as we have a social benefit to actually reduce the amount of cars that our customers use and reduce their CO2 footprint as well as payment processing fees. We have integrated payments in there as well. You'll see the reason for that is our solution is that our vision is actually to move from providing digital fleet mobility solutions to be able to control that ecosystem, unbundle leasing, and target the profit pool of the fleet management companies before moving to open loop, card not present digital fleet and mobility payments. Our plan is to move to 250,000 vehicles in UK and Europe. We're looking for an investment of up to 10 million, with 10 to 15 million over 2 rounds to get to there. And you'll see a Series C round that we expect to be around 50 million. That puts us into the US, where we'll target 1 million cars. So if you're interested in the opportunity, you find the payments industry interesting or the automotive industry interesting, then please give me a call and we can talk to you about transforming the global smart fleet management industry. Thank you.
Oh, and brilliant on time. Well done. Let's jump straight into feedback or questions from the panel.
Okay. I had a hard time on the beginning to understand the problem that you're trying to solve. Yes, you are an AI and a SaaS platform or enterprise for how do you say, platform where you manage a smart fleet management platform, if I understood correctly. So I know what you want to do in essence, but I didn't really understand exactly the problem on the beginning that you're trying to solve. So again, I would say you're trying to sell us here in 3 minutes too much information. I think the objective, I'm sorry to repeat myself from before, but you're trying to wake up an investor. He wants to be like drawn in, and after 3 minutes, he wants to say, let's get together for half an hour, for an hour. So that did not come across. That's from my side.
Right, so I can add to this, and I know this is not strictly an investor pitch, I'm tempering some of that. The slides that you had were clearly to show what you do. There's no why or how. It's more like what you do, what you can deliver. So I understand it's a bit of a mixed bag of slides. Again, you're in a massive industry. You're right at the forefront. It sounds like you have real customers. I'm not sure you have even $1 in revenue or how it works. I'm a bit confused about that to see what stage you're in, but amazing market, amazing opportunity. Repeating Alex, in 3 minutes, there's only one thing you can do, is a mental hook to the brain to say either, how do you do that? Either you say something that people think, that's not possible, it's too good, sounds too good to be true. Or two, wow, I thought it was not possible technically, so challenge, technical challenge. Or number three, when everybody thinks it's going to the right, you're going to the left, you're going against. Why? Because investors always back outliers. Don't be the white sheep. Don't be like everybody else. Go against the grain. These are the three mental hooks to the brain where you get a meeting. Anything you send out has only one function: get a meeting and your chance to chat. Then you can explain it and take your time. But these sessions, and that's why they're good training sessions for you, is to say, how do you do one message that's very simple? Don't try and cramming everything. Just have one thing. In your case, what's that one thing? I believe is that most large corporates are completely clueless about mobility solutions, what exist, and even more so don't want to run them because it's run by a bunch of old-fashioned car rental people. And there's a new platform that enables them new services and new ways of managing their assets. That's what you provide. And that's new, or at least I haven't heard of it. After that, we can discuss the format, exactly, but right. That's the core. Keep to one thing. It's a massive market, everybody knows it. You mentioned expected investment for 1 million cars. I have no idea. What's a car producing? If you have one slide, one number, on average, one car gives you $4.20 a month. How many cars until you break even? How many cars until you become $1 million profit company? How many cars before you make 100 million? These are the three numbers that an investor will be interested by. So less product, one message, and make it one of those three messages.
Great advice.
Understand.
We've got time
Thanks
for
very much.
one more panelist to give quick feedback.
Just a quick one. I think just a little bit, because you've been around for a while, it would have been nice to see a few testimonials from clients and actually a proof point of how much money's been saved or something like that. I think it was, as we've heard, it was very descriptive, but there wasn't much emotion about, I want to know more, because I know I work in an industry which is a bit backward. You're ahead of the game, and also it's going to save a lot of money. Just needed something a bit stronger there. Yeah,
understand.
I'm sure you must have satisfied customers who can provide that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, brilliant, great advice. Thanks. Thanks, Owen. Thank you. Hopefully that's helpful. We're going to jump into our third pitch now. We're with Mortgage Mates, and from Mortgage Mates we've got Jess joining.
Just share my screen.
Great stuff. You're good to go, Jess.
All good. Excellent. So hi, I'm Jess, and I'm from Mortgage Mates. I'm one of the co-founders, and our aim is to revolutionise the housing market by matching individuals currently priced out of the property market to co-own a home together, opening up a significant untapped proportion of the market. So the problem that we are looking to address is simply housing is unaffordable. London is one of the most expensive cities in the world, and it's predicted that 1 out of 3 young people may never buy a home. Of those that do, many rely on family support or will significantly overstretch themselves or buy an unfavourable property. Further to this, those that do buy a property, and those that never buy a property will continue to face financial instability as they go on in life. So our solution, we want to jump on that share economy and match people that are priced out of the market to each other to co-own a property together. By pooling resources, you'll only need to buy half a deposit, you'll have a reduced home loan size, and therefore you'll be able to enter the market quicker and with less financial strain. You'll also have someone to share the costs with, both the upfront costs and the ongoing costs of owning a home. It'll also increase your ability to buy a sounder investment and buy in a location where there's more opportunities and greater infrastructure. So based on this, our target market are the first home buyers, those people that are aged between 20 to 35 who may have saved part of a deposit, but they're still unable to crack into the market. This equates to approximately 14 million potential users in the UK alone. So coming now to our platform. So MortgageMate's platform enables you to enter a range of preferences. So that could be things like price, type of property, location. And from there, we use a weighted algorithm to match people who are most suited to co-own a property together. So our role is the connector. We can often be referred to as the Tinder of mortgages, and that's what we do. We facilitate the match, and then from there, we refer on to third-party providers who will then facilitate the sale. This leads to our business model. So we have 3 clear revenue streams. So firstly, we've got advertising. So this will be targeted advertising through mortgage brokers, banks, etc. We have referral fees. So a set referral fee or a percentage of a sale from third parties, such as bankers, again, real estate agents. And lastly, we have a paid premium subscription. So this will be implemented when we reach a certain threshold of users. And currently we don't have this, so we have no barriers to entry. Our roadmap in the United Kingdom. So by the end of year 1, we hope to have 0.5% of the market, which is approximately 70,000 users. From there, by year 5, we aim to have 10% of the market, equating to approximately 1.4 million and potential of 1.6 billion in revenue. Currently in the early stages in Australia, we've seen promising results with a 10% month-on-month growth of users and significant industry interest. We currently have 10 agreements in place with third parties and a significant number that are still in progress. And lastly, to our competition. So in regards to this, there are 3 key areas. So we've got fractional investment, shared ownership, and platforms that support pre-existing couples or families and friends into co-ownership agreements. MortgageMates, however, is the first of its kind in Australia, and currently there are no other similar providers in the UK. So MortgageMates is unique and then allows the autonomy in your ownership journey and you to get to know the person you're buying with rather than sharing ownership with, say, a company or being split between potentially thousands of others all owning the similar home in fractional investment. Now to the team. Daisy and I come from both a community development background with my experience in the strategic side and Daisy in the housing and legal side. So thanks for listening, and I hope together we might be able to revolutionise the housing market. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Jess. Just over 3 minutes, 40 seconds, basically. Let's jump straight into feedback from the panel.
Hi, Jess. It's Andy here. Really good pitch. Really like that. Thank you. I thought it was really clear, really concise. I think you clearly know your market, clearly know your opportunity. I think from a financial services perspective anyway, so not from an investor perspective, I think all the key information came across really well. I guess the one thing that was missing for me was how you intend to get your growth. So you've got some clear aspirations on there and what your targets are, but just a piece about how you're going to get there over the next 5 to 10 years, I think was missing. But the rest of it, I thought loads of information, really concise, great clear slides, really good.
Thank you.
You definitely a friendly judge there, Andy.
Yeah.
No, thank you. So you go ahead, Jim.
Oh yeah, mine's quick. It's just, I would say it's the clearest of the presentation so far. Very good slides and things like that. I think whenever you think about mortgages, for most people, it's the biggest expense they're going to spend in their lives. I think that there is, because you're dealing with, I think there's some questions which need to be answered. What happens? Young people move around quite a lot. Their lifestyles change. They form relationships. They move out of areas with jobs and everything like that. What happens? There's a sort of in my head, I'm thinking a bit scare stories of having a shared mortgage with someone who, after 6 months, my job moves me out, and now I'm stuck with this. I think I think some of those concerns need to be addressed in your pitch, because if I'm thinking about them, I'm sure investors and customers will as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I agree with you. What I would maybe, well, first of all, so thank you. It was very clear, very concise. I really liked your pitch. The only thing about the pitch, what I want to say, is that you probably took a pitch that usually is going for 10 or 15 minutes, and you just compressed it to 3 minutes, which you did a great job, by the way, but it came a little bit across like that. I was missing more about the competitors. And what also Jim said at the end is, how do you deal with when you share a mortgage with somebody you don't know, how that works if something were to happen to the other person. That's on my side. But I like it very much. Congrats.
So, just to defend you, because I've seen the original slides, massive improvement. I really like, because again, you have 3 minutes. So with respect, judges, in 3 minutes, she's not going to talk about the whole competitive market of the mortgage and mortgage financing market. That could be an hour pitch just there. And number two, she's not going to be explaining all the potential scenarios of people indeed getting together, wanting to separate, one side wanting to sell, not the other, which will be for sure one of the problems. However, what I think, and we've been recommending this, for the previous pitches, what you've done very well is super clear what you do, and two, you have a hook. How do you know you have a hook? Because people are asking questions, but what about this? What about that? How does that work? Who's the competition? Which is exactly what you want. That's how you get your first meeting. So well done for that, because I think you've achieved, the only thing that you have to achieve with the 3 minute is exactly that. Yes, there's stuff that you could improve on, but I think it's super clear. Never read your script or never read your slides, because it makes you like a robot. I can read quicker than you. I promise you. I see over 2,000 business plans. When you read something, it makes me think that you really haven't got a clue or you don't know. And I know that you do. So you should speak normally. Again, and that applies to all of you guys. Speak like you're talking to your grandma or your neighbor or somebody who's not from the industry. Speak normal, simple English, no jargon, no acronyms, no industry insider jokes. Just speak normally. You're almost there, except that at some stage, and then you caught yourself, and then you had to catch up with where was I in the script, and that has lost your human side of talking to me instead of just talking to an audience. I know it's frustrating, I know it's scary, but try and do that. You're going to do it a few times, and it's going to feel easier and easier. But I think overall, you've just achieved. You would have a meeting for sure with investors on the basis of that.
Brilliant. I love that. The grandma test is a good one to apply to every situation. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jess. Well done. Let's keep going here. Let's jump into accounts flow. And from accounts flow, we've got Tony pitching. Tony, do you want to share your screen? Brilliant. You are good to go, Tony.
Okay. Hi all. My name is Tony Brockhurst from a company called Accountsflow in Perth, West Australia. This presentation is not a pitch for investment. It's more to provide you with, or the panel with, a bit of Accountsflow's history and where we're heading over the next 2 to 3 years. And just to give you some thoughts and feedback and any holes that I should be looking at. I have been running Accountsflow for nearly 20 years, and we have actually pivoted a number of times. With our expansion over to the US, we have done a complete reset of our business, which includes updating our technology so we can become scalable. Accountsflow creates software that automates the manual processes of entering in purchase orders and invoices into accounting and ERP systems on a line-by-line basis. We have created technology to extract data with 100% accuracy that reduces our clients' labour costs and time. This screen just showed you a few highlights of Accountsflow in Australia with a number of our blue chip clients being CUB, Asahi, and the Liquor Marketing Group. We've had significant growth over the last 3 years. We are continuously developing our product. We provide our point of sale system customers, who we've got about 40 of them at the moment, with an incentive to promote to all their customers. So they are our sales force. We've just expanded to the US, so our global expansion is underway. This is just a timeline of when we started in 2000 and where we had an online ordering system. We have just chopped and changed to find the right model, and this is where we're heading to now in the US. We do have a number of competitors in the marketplace. Two large ones are Receipt Bank and HubDoc. They are at the bottom end of the market, but they mainly deal with receipts and scanned invoices and so forth, whereas Accounts Flow are dealing with the supplier market, and we're really targeting extracting the data out and entering it in on a line-by-line basis into the systems. Just one sec. Using the knowledge we've gained over the last 20 years, Accounts Flow has reset the business to target the supplier market who receive and send purchase orders and invoices using non-EDI processes. Over the next 2 to 3 years in Australia, our focus is dealing with the suppliers who receive these orders and invoices. And they can receive it in a number of ways. And one of the areas that we're focusing a lot with our suppliers now is that they can just configure their email server to just copy Accounts Flow on any invoices and orders that come through the system. We then convert those, then send them straight back within seconds, and it gets automatically uploaded into their ERP and accounting systems. We currently deal with about 5,000 suppliers, and we'll be targeting those suppliers with the aim of a take on of between 1,500 to 2,000 suppliers over the next 3 years. Our fee structure is a minimal fee to set up each customer for each supplier and 50 cents per transaction. In the US, we have a number of clients, but one of our main clients is a company called Fintech. They have asked our reseller in the US to come up with some software where they can export invoices to 100,000+ of their customers who use QuickBooks. So we have developed that software, and at the moment the trial's been done, and now Fintech are currently paying Accounts Flow. Over the next 3 years, our main focus is on the 5,000 suppliers in Australia with our Orders Connect software, working closely with Fintech in the US. They have actually over 600,000 retailers, and we'll be working with them on those and all those retailer suppliers. So it's a significant market for us, and we're also talking to a potential reseller in the UK and Europe. That's all, guys. Thanks for your time today. And any questions?
Excellent. Thanks, Tony. That was 4 minutes 40, so you know. So we've got time for 1 or 2 quick questions there.
I have quite a few, but I thought maybe you guys, since it's a established 20-year-old business, not looking for funding, maybe you have questions from the corporate side. Otherwise, I have questions and a couple of recommendations for you. You tell me.
Yeah, guys.
Jump in, Francois. Let's go.
Okay, I'll jump in. So the first thing in the slide deck, again, try and simplify massively. I'm not too sure about the background with the beer bottles and stuff. I have no idea. I thought you were in the drinks industry. Maybe something, if you're more about payments, POS, and other transactions, just, you might want to change some of that. I only understood what you did once I saw HubDoc. And I'm a Xero.com user. Xero has now 1 million customers, B2B. I'm sure you know them. They're Kiwis. They're now super established. And I only understood what you actually process and the difference. So I think you might want to bring this forward a little bit, saying we're like this, but better. And here is what we do. And number 2, I didn't understand why, instead of looking for physical UK resellers, why aren't you connecting into their app store and the others? You mentioned QuickBooks. I have no idea who Fintech is, so you might want to devise that and stop talking about Fintech, would be my recommendation, because that's just another partner and a reseller. Massively important to you to the US, understood, but still it's not your company. So I would focus on this is us, what we do and why it rocks, why it's better than the others, and then talk about how you're going to expand. People typically want to partner with or to commercialize, distribute, partner, or to invest in companies that have a plan that they can tap into. Whereas at the moment it felt it was a little bit of a lot of other people's solution, and it lost me a little bit.
Okay, thanks, Francois.
Good advice. We've got time for one more if someone wants to jump in.
We have a guy who used to be an investor at Visa on the panel. He must have something to say, I guess.
I was letting the stage for the others, but yeah, I can say something. So for me, I mean, on the beginning, what you said, yeah, it's not an investor pitch. It's more of an explanation of what we're doing. I wouldn't say that up front. I would also, we had a little bit that issue at Visa as well, because payment is, in a lot of people's eyes, really, really boring. And I guess it's the same with accounting, where it's like, okay, it's boring. So how can you make more life in this? How can you wake up the interest of an investor, of a listener, of an audience? And then also explain maybe something. That's my recommendation on the beginning, when you said, well, we automate the manual processing of the invoicing and everything. So a lot of small SMEs, they understand what you mean, but the normal person doesn't understand. So just make a very short example up front, because everybody loves examples. Everybody loves a little story. Even if it's a story only of 10 seconds, people love it, and that usually sticks up here, and they want to hear more. So that's on my side. Yeah, and then maybe a last thing, since you are existing already since 20 years, try to also spin. I wouldn't show the whole line or the whole life cycle of your company. I would just say, look, we were founded in 2000. We made a great brand awareness or something like that. And you really explain what's happening in the last 3 or 4 years, because those are the most important milestones in my view.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Good stuff. Thank you, guys. We're going to jump into our next company, which is Revise Online. Do we have Dion or David? I'm not sure which one you're presenting.
David, as it turns out.
Okay.
Look, first. Right. Look, first of all, thanks particularly, Francois, for giving us that feedback on our original deck. It's destroyed 3 days of our lives, but hopefully it's worth it in the end. Look, Revise Online, our aim is to disrupt matriculating exams. Most of you have sat an A-level or a baccalaureate exam in your last couple of years of high school, and you'll know what sort of trauma that creates to both the student, but you may not know exactly what trauma it creates to the school or the teachers that are involved as well. We want to make pen and paper exams obsolete. For the last 115 years, kids have sat exams in exactly the same way, and they've become more and more expensive and more of a burden on the system. Study is chaotic. We want to try and make sure that the delivery is streamlined as well. Okay. Basically, what we want to do is be able to say that a student can do all of their revision for their Year 12 exams online. They can they can log into a secure portal to sit their exams. The exam will be marked by the machine and invigilated by the machine, and their results and university placings will be given to them that afternoon, maybe. Dave?
Since 2016, our product offering, when we first started, centred around providing quality revision material for Year 11 and 12 students across a number of courses here in Western Australia. Having received good growth and certainly good traction early on, we then moved into other jurisdictions and proving our scalability into Queensland and into Victoria, whilst also acquiring customers internationally. Over the last 4 years, what we've found is we've reached earlier this year 40,000 users. Our subscriber growth rate has been about 40% year on year, and the market share that we've obtained, we're looking at a revision market in Australia of approximately about $185 million when fully saturated across the various states that we're operating in. Our customer acquisition costs, at the moment, they sit at about $2,500 a customer, being a school that we operate in, and the lifetime value of a customer, it sits at about $9,000. However, as we move within the school, both horizontally across departments, i.e. from science to mathematics, and then vertically from different year groups, we see that customer acquisition costs reduce, whilst the lifetime value of the customer obviously increases. Our monthly revenue versus burn rate, earlier this year, we managed to get to a point where we became cash flow positive. Obviously, what we're looking for is an expansionary opportunity to mainly develop our machine marking. That is a significant cost, but then obviously opens up a significant market as we can scale both locally and internationally.
Overall, the market for the education exam space is about $40 billion across the globe. Our place in that is very small at the moment, but we obviously want it to grow. The jewel in our crown is our machine marking protocol. We've managed to develop and accurately test a way to mark exams online without the interference of a human. To a fairly high level. It's still in alpha, just finished alpha testing, now going to beta. But the thing that makes that is that's something that even the British government education department can't crack. So we think we've got that one mastered, which would be massive. Our team is fairly diverse. We're both teachers. We have no experience in creating technology, so we've engaged some experts along the way, including a host of highly regarded data scientists and development people. In terms of key competitors, we have competitors. We don't have a large amount of competitors that we've found in our exact space, but we certainly have competitors for the wallet, and there's some big ed tech companies out there who are in our space. We actually want to gain some investment to expand into the UK, build our market presence, but more importantly, I suppose, to build out our AI technology to be able to spin it out across our whole suite of products. And thanks for listening. Great.
That's just on 5 minutes, guys. So let's do maybe one of the panelists. Time for much more.
Just for me, have you got me?
We do, yeah.
Yeah. Look, as someone I've had one daughter just finishing A levels and another one just at start. I must admit, when I had a look at these ones, I got very excited about what you're doing. The pitch, though, I got a bit confused because at the beginning it was going to be a replacement for exams, and then it was more about, which I thought it was more about, is revision material and helping people practice for exams. And maybe other panelists felt the same way, but I felt there were two products here in it, and they didn't. There wasn't a nice fit there. I think also there's an awful lot of competitors there, so that scares. I think that's quite scary. Normally, when you say I've got competitive, you talk about 2 or 3. But I think I think the great thing is education. If anything, COVID is going to change the whole world of education with remote learning. Schools going to have to change. Who are your target audience? That's another thing. Is it private schools? Is it students? Is it parents who are concerned? Is it trying to change government, the Department of Education, all those sort of things? You've definitely got something there, but it just needs a bit more strategy behind it. But I like the presentation, but I am a bit confused exactly what you're bringing to the UK.
Yeah. Okay. We've got time for one more quick one, Francois.
I can add to that. So, first, kudos. You guys have worked your butts off, clearly, because my God, that presentation is miles ahead of where it was only 48 hours ago. So kudos where it's due. Well done. I would also agree that you're trying to cram in too much. Remember, this is just about is designed to get you one meeting. You have the one thing that you say, but only at the end, which I think you should bring way forward, is that you are the examiner as a service. You are a robot, you have an amazing accuracy rate, and you replace expensive examiners or expensive processes, paper, pen, for exams of young kids. You have a proven track record, you have customers, now it's just about expansion. That doesn't come across that simply just yet, but I think with a bit of work, and obviously will help you, I think you've got something there that's massive. pretty clear that the education system, and you don't explain the market that way bigger than what you've expressed, the education market has been forced and accelerated 10 years forward, forced to move online, and therefore they need tools because they can't keep the people, they can't keep the cost. Everything is being challenged and changed. Universities are half empty because there's no more travelers from China and India. Huge problems everywhere, which can be solved with your technology and your intelligent examining. So I think there's a bit of a positioning work to be done, but overall massive opportunity. You will get a meeting. You've put too much in the competitive slide, and I promise you that Pearson does not have an artificial intelligence examining bot, for sure. In fact, they're most likely going to want to partner with you for distribution in the UK, and they're most likely going to want to buy you if they see that it tracks really well, because they're moving from paper books to electronic books. Guess what they want to do next is the exam piece. So plenty of opportunities, but good job, guys.
Brilliant. Good. Well done, guys. And sounds like making great progress there. We're going to jump into our next startup, which is going to take us into space. Josh, do you want to share from Space Industries?
Showing it properly?
We can see it, but not in present mode.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
So Space Industries is an award-winning company in the space industry focused on critical resources from space. So we're focusing on resources that either can't be produced here on Earth or that we have to take from Earth to the Moon or Mars. The first one is water. So in 2024, NASA is putting humans back on the Moon to stay. And that means that they're going to need utilities. All of the utilities in space come from water. So the hydration comes from water. The propellants, you split the water into hydrogen and oxygen and you get propellant. The water is also used for growing crops, and water can also be split again and used to produce energy. To get the water to the Moon, it's costing $36,000 a kilogram, and we can easily produce it for lower than $3,000 per kilogram on the Moon. The other resource that we're focusing on is helium-3. So on Earth, we produce helium-3 by making nuclear bombs. The nuclear bombs then produce a waste product, which converts over 12.3 years into helium-3, and it's used in the medical industry for MRI scanners or treating respiratory diseases in the lungs. It's used for security, so detecting plutonium across borders at seaports and in cities and airports. It's used for supercooling, like cooling data centers, which can reduce a lot of demand from the grid. And it's also the future of energy in nuclear fusion. So currently the price here is over $10,000 per litre, and we aim to produce it and supply it on Earth for less than $3,000 per litre. To do that, we've developed the Lunar Resource Extraction Vehicle. And with that, we've developed a new mining method which can produce the resources in a sustainable method on the lunar surface, and the impact on the lunar surface is about the same as your feet when you walk along the beach. So it's only the top 10 centimeters. It's not destructive mining. Space is about solving problems calmly and not about blowing up the Moon. Our business model is quite unique in the fact that we can actually corner 90% of the market. We can do that because we're a first mover. No one else is producing water on the Moon, and no one else is producing helium-3 on Earth other than US government, Russian government, and Chinese government. We're currently, the way that we're going to capture the market and create a monopoly is we're doing offtake agreements. So the agreement is if we produce it, you will buy it. We're currently in discussion with 3 agreements, and those are totaling over $600 million now, and we're aiming by 2030 to at least have $3.6 billion in offtake agreements. We've identified another 56 customers for helium-3 alone, and one of our potential offtake partners is a quite a large space agency. As I mentioned, we're a first mover. That's how we got the name Space Industries, believe it or not. But on the mining side, we're the only company that has a focus on mining on the Moon. The other companies that are focused on mining in space come from asteroid mining companies like Transastra, Honeybee. And just for an idea of the space industry. It's a high reward, as you've just seen, industry, but it also comes at a high cost. So a lot of the startups have raised from $45 million through to $279 million. And that's what brings us here today. Our team is designed for success. So we've all got a track record in the space industry or various industries, mining and related industries. Dr. Gordon Rosler was in charge of setting up a space robotics division for DARPA. And I've been involved in mining industry, setting up companies in the mining industry, and built my first one up to $150 million market cap. Kirby Eichen took over from Buzz Aldrin at the National Space Society, which is a pretty big achievement. He's also built his own space companies as well, which have been quite successful. We've achieved some pretty good milestones. So in 2019, we were selected by NASA as a top 10 global company. And that was for our relevance to the Artemis missions, our high chance of success, and also our space and Earthbound applications. And that was followed through by then entering discussions with 2 potential customers, one for water and one for helium-3. And they were the first customers we approached as well. Going forward to 2020 currently, we've had some pretty good traction. So we've just received and finalized our first accelerator funding, and we're now progressing through to our first seed round as well. We've been finalists on Australian Space Awards for 2 different categories, waiting results, and also selected as a finalist for the Australian Technology Awards, to name a couple. And we're now progressing with the funding we've received from the accelerator to build the first demonstration vehicle. So by the end of this year, we'll actually have a vehicle that we can drive around, and if you want, you can come and have a sit on it, and we'll let you drive it around as well. So basically, we are a utilities company for space, which are quite successful on Earth, and I think we'll be quite successful when we set up in space. And our focus is critical resources. And that's it. Thanks.
That is out of this world. Amazing. Although that was almost 6 minutes. So we don't have too much time, but probably time for one person to give feedback.
Anybody wants? I feel like I'm hogging the mic. So anybody wants in, go. Otherwise, I'll chip in.
Something very quick. It's not my area. I think it's completely fascinating. I actually just had dinner 2 days ago with somebody who now is like setting up a fund, a micro fund, but who wants to invest much more in space industries. I think it's fascinating overall. For most investors, probably don't know a lot about that. Try to simplify it. Try to, on the beginning, you explained what the problem is that you're trying to tackle. But make it more simple for somebody. And again, the message is always the same. Try to really do the 3 minutes and make an investor or any listener hungry to even want to know more. You have the advantage is that anything with space industry is something fascinating. So you have people listening. Make it more simple to understand. That's my only message. Otherwise, great.
Good advice. It's good advice for everyone. Josh, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for, but well done. I found that personally really fascinating as well. We've got 3 more companies to go, so hang in there, people. I know this is feels like quite a quick trip around a whole bunch of different industries. So 3 to go. Noisy Guts up next. Josephine, do you want to share your screen? And we can jump straight in with that. Perfect. You are good to go.
Have you ever wondered what your rumbling, grumbling gut is trying to tell you? My name is Josephine Muir. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Noisy Guts. I'm here with Miss Flora. She's wearing our acoustic belt. It non-invasively and accurately diagnoses and monitors common gut conditions. And together, we're on a mission to improve global gut health. Gut health is a massive issue. It's a massive global market worth $50 billion, and this presents massive opportunities. But the problem is that many functional gut disorders are notoriously difficult to diagnose, treat, monitor, and manage. We solve these problems, saving time and money, and we divert people away from costly and uncomfortable and sometimes completely unnecessary colonoscopies. Our first target is irritable bowel syndrome. And I can't change my Our first target is irritable bowel syndrome. This is a really debilitating and chronic gut disorder. It affects 11% of the world's population. And despite the size and scale of this problem, there is currently no positive diagnostic test for IBS. So rather, it's a diagnosis of exclusion. This means it takes about 4 years on average for someone to get a diagnosis with an out-of-pocket spend of $1,500 a year. Yes, there are new breath tests, biomarkers, and even a new ingestible gas capsule coming to the market. But these tests are really frustrating because they don't pick up all of the different types of subtypes of IBS. And while our patients tell us they've tried everything from snake oil to psychics to diagnose and treat their IBS, very few are willing to swallow a camera or a gas capsule for fear that it might get stuck. Our acoustic belt helps health practitioners by providing a positive diagnostic test that's non-invasive and that's over 90% accurate. Our business model is B2B2C as we distribute our test through pathology centres and patients pay per test. Our second product is a monitoring device that people can wear at home, and this helps people work out what's triggering their symptoms and causing flare-ups. And the value in this product is a subscription service that offers real-time feedback onto a user's smartphone. So we're planning to hit the Australian market and then head to the US, where our TAM is about $7 billion, and then on to the UK. Over the past 4 years, we've patented, published, prototyped, and we've tested our belt on over 400 patients. Our chief gastroenterologist is Nobel laureate, Professor Barry Marshall, and we're currently in a clinical trial where we're expanding the capabilities of our belt to other gut disorders such as Crohn's, colitis, and celiac disease. We recently raised $2.5 million, and that's going to give us sufficient runway to get through the TGA next year. But my 3 questions for the Brains Trust today are: how do I build the valuation of my company in the lead up to my Series A when I can't sell product? There are other comparable tests like the fecal calprotectin test, stool analysis, breath tests, and they are on the market between about $75 to $450 per test. What's your advice for how I should determine my pricing strategy for the UK? And thirdly, what priority would you give for my startup to be making other complementary gut health products that we can bring onto the market now for early revenue and customers? And I'm sorry, my screen share didn't work.
There we go.
Oh, look, there it is. Oh, found the right
Too late,
now.
too late, out.
There we go. I thought that was quite a unique approach with a holding slide and then some questions at the end there, Josephine. Oh.
I'm not going to say anything because I speak too much, but I just want to say I'm a huge fan of what you're doing. I completely believe in doing much more around guts. There's very interesting books also, which I'm sure you all know. So yeah, no, great.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Francois.
Right, so let's start. I'm super impressed how cool you keep under pressure. And it's one of the first things that investors want to see. So I loved it. I don't know if it was scripted or not, but you did super well saying, the slides don't work. No worries. Which shows 2 things. One is that, you managed to keep cool, and it's a very stressful scenario usually. And number 2, you know your business. You should not have, to have slides to be able to explain your business, what you're trying to do, your challenges. And I think you've nailed this very well. It's super clear. I think without a single picture, everybody understood what you do, understood your stage, understood how much money you've made, where you're going next, and the challenges that you're facing. And your 3 questions were very clear. So kudos where it's due. I think it's great. I love the space. Everybody loves the space because it's one of the most common diseases, conditions, call it whatever you want. And I think IBS in the UK, of course, the market is small in the UK, but it's still one of the major new developments. And therefore, you're going to have more and more clinics and patients interested in it. IBS has now been put under the mental health issue category. Therefore, if you have anything wrong with your stomach, the GP will typically send you under test for IBS. And so that market has exploded, and obviously people need tools to do that efficiently and cost effectively. So super interesting. Mental hook is good, but it's a bit slow, and therefore you should really focus on that's the problem in the world right now, and IBS is exploding as an issue. We have a solution that's cost effective, non-invasive, produces 90% accuracy, and gives the clinic and the patient data, and the reassurance of having clear data about what condition you have is 50% of fixing it. So I think you should focus a little bit more on that, but otherwise amazing. And I love the fact that you can talk about your business like an adult, normal, without having the need for that crutch of a slide. I can answer some of the questions. I didn't say that to the other companies, but of course, I'll be very happy to help you and restructure whatever needs to be done before your launch in the UK or your investor pitches. In this case, I think you, pricing-wise, I would go, because you are technologically advanced, start very high. You're going to need a huge chunk of your revenue to be shared with distributors, importers, whichever distribution system you use. Therefore, you're going to need to start very high to state this reassuringly expensive status of yours. It's better technology, it's faster, leaner, non-invasive, it's the best that you can get, and you'll be able to do either launch offers or special discounts or pass on a big chunky piece of revenue to the distributors for them to then grow your distribution network and consumer reach. I don't like the dual-headed monster. Having a consumer play, which means investing heavily in brand and heavily in marketing, goes against your distribution play, which is go there and get there into any clinic. Clinics are going to be buying more and more and more of those. Very difficult to do both B2B and B2C, especially if you want to get subscription services and data services to consumers, GDPR, and all sorts of issues that you could get away not having to deal with. So possibly I would recommend a B2B unless I'm proven wrong, just for costs. So that's the pricing. Start high and then be super generous to distribution. They will then grow your market without you. The first one is, how do you define your valuation? I've been doing valuation work for over 15 years. I'm always accurate within 5%. Don't think of it as a number plucked out of the air. It's not. It's pretty much what you're going to need. You're going to need 18 months to show that from this round to the next round, if there is a next round, you need a huge increase in valuation. So give yourself the time, typically 18 months, so that you have time to hire well, have time to develop well, test the price, test the acquisition cost, test all of the channels, so that then you have the second half in pure growth mode, which will give you a very high valuation. So typically a transaction will cost you 15%, 10% when it's a late stage deal, 25% when it's very early stage startup. So you're going to be in the middle. Around 15% of the shares will have to be given to investors. So your cost, fully loaded OPEX for 18 months divided by 1/15% is your valuation.
There we go. Quick maths. Brilliant. Thanks, Josephine. Well done. That's fantastic. We're going to do our two last pictures now. So we've got Paul and Mike from SafeWatch. Is it Paul or Mike?
Both of us. Both of us.
Oh, there we go. Brilliant. Excellent. We can see the slides, but it's not in present mode, guys. We're good to go. There we go.
There we go.
All right.
So our company is called SafeWatch Global. Our main product is called Wickham. We have 4 products that we have in our portfolio. The first one, which we started with, was VetGuard. It was specifically designed for return servicemen who are on suicide watch. This is the one that gave us the platform to move forward, because we had written confirmation from a return serviceman that it saved his life. He was about to commit suicide, pressed the button and got help immediately. So from there, we worked out what else we could do. So we built one called Wickham School. Wickham School is the one I'll go into more detail. The reason we went into Wickham School was because both our wives are teachers, and it's all about protecting teachers. The third one we've got is called Wickham Help. It's a personal safety app currently being trialled. We've got a large mining company who have 15 executives travelling the world at the moment to war and torn countries, and they're using it as a duress alarm system, which is monitored 24/7. And the last one we've got is called Wickham Health, which is more or less VetGuard rebranded. Because it worked with VetGuard and we know the product works, we thought there was an opportunity to do it to the general public, and especially in mental health. In Australia, the mental health bill is 1.3 billion per year. I think in the UK it's 94 billion. The way we would structure that is that we would have Wickham Health pay a license fee to SafeWatch Global. In Australia, that's been set up as a not-for-profit. So in regards to Wickham School, when we started doing our research, it wasn't just a WA thing or a Northern Territory thing or an Australian thing. Attacks on teachers happen on a constant basis. In England, it's 40 attacks per day, but it's a worldwide issue. In Australia, in the US, there was 927,000 lost work days. So it's a very expensive cost. In regards to market, there's 9,500 schools in Australia. There's obviously more in less in New Zealand, but more in England, 32,000 schools. Germany, 39,000 schools, and in the US, 98,000 schools. So what we're looking at is market share. We in Australia, when we did it in WA, what we were doing was targeting individual schools, which was hard work. We moved to the Northern Territory. We got 26 schools on board. We moved to the Northern Territory and we targeted the actual government, and they decided they'd do an actual trial from a government perspective. So we trialled it in WA. We engaged, we've launched into the Northern Territory, and it's going ahead in leaps and bounds. So we're a subscription-based model. Our price range for a school from $60 to $960 per month. Setup costs are paid by the school, etc. Our competitors, there's a few competitors, but all our competitors are all about mass communication, active shooting or active shooters. Whereas ours is more about what happens on a daily basis in the schools. We're more about protecting the teachers and making sure that they're looked after. The founders are Michael and myself. Michael's IT guru, I'm in sales. Thanks, guys.
Nice work. That was 3 minutes 45. So you know. Let's jump straight into our panel.
Shall I jump in there, or has somebody? I've got quite a lot of experience in that space, so it's a super exciting space that you're in. I'll start with the format. I think you're trying to squeeze way too much into a short period of time. Your only job with that presentation, or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, is to get a mental hook. Get somebody to say, wow, how does that work? That's a great way to say, come and see me. I don't understand how it works, but that sounds exciting. 2 is when everybody's going to the right, we're going to the left. And I think you have a perfect example of that. You're doing something. Everybody knows the problem, but nobody's doing something about the issue of school shootings and mass murders. And therefore, you acting against the grain of wait and see, buy more guns, NRA style stuff. Or 3, to say how it's not possible. I don't believe that, it feels like magic. And I think your stuff genuinely saves lives. So therefore, start with that. Take those 3, choose one, put this at the front, and start with this. This is what you have. It's an amazing company worth a meeting. The rest, too much text, too much detail, too much I had to read, too many arrows. You don't need any of them. I still couldn't say right now how much revenue you've made, how many customers. I've seen 18, 24, and then it's grown into different states, whatever. So you can simplify a lot. The market is waiting for you vividly over here, not just the UK, but Europe as a whole, Western Europe, the richer countries. I recommend that you look at one of the early pioneers of that called BIPPER, B-I-P-P-E-R. Another one, which is, it's a she, and she's Norwegian. She's part of the World Health Organization and the UN. She's been an amazing defender. Women need more protection that can be afforded by the police forces. We're going to do something technologically about it. The other one is called panicguard.com, which is a Danish guy who's moved into B2B, something way closer to you, which is protecting people and assisting them, basically plugging into the back end of Crime Watch and the back ends of security vehicles, either private patrol vehicles or delivery vehicles, whatever, and Panic Guard. And there's a third one that is also being built there on the back of Vodafone infrastructure. So there's plenty there. The market is enormous. There's a bunch of servicemen, funny you talked about that, who came back and are now trying to do a Uber for your personal safety. You have a mobile phone, you have a bunch of codes or particular sounds that you make when you're in panic mode, and that triggers the delivery of a dispatch vehicle with some seriously beefy dudes coming to protect you on demand. So there's plenty happening. Market is amazing. The investors have interest, so can't wait to see you over here. But you'll need to rephrase what you do. You have too many products, too much distraction, which I think will cost you dearly. That's my view. But otherwise, amazing opportunity. We'll love to come and help you.
Good advice, Francois. Unfortunately, though, that advice takes us up to our time. But great feedback. We're going to jump into our final startup now. So we've only got one more to go, which is Quipmo. And from Quipmo, we've got Chris. Chris, do you want to jump in, share your screen?
Fantastic. Can you all see my screen now?
Yes, we can. Yeah, it's not in present mode yet either. But.
It's not going into present mode. Slowly but surely. Here we go.
F5.
I'll try and race along. So everyone loves to travel, but no one loves to travel with gear. Whether it's a bike, a surfboard, or a snowboard, no one wants to be taking that through an airport. Now, conversely, if you're an existing hire business, how can you increase the number of rentals that you're making? Or if you're an individual with gear in the shed, how can you make money from things that you already own? And the answer is simple. It's Quipmo, the surf, bike and snow peer-to-peer gear rental marketplace for locals and travellers alike. Quipmo is equipment for the moment. Now, you're likely thinking this is an incredibly simple idea. Surely it has already been done to death. Now, there are numerous startups and early stage scale-ups who are trying to do just that. But it's the existing market which really is most interesting. The mum and dad local hire business who gain all of its customers effectively from walk-in traffic own the market. Which is crazy because how we purchase has changed. 97% of people prefer to find businesses online. Millennials in particular have been programmed to rent, borrow and share. And 60% of Airbnb's customers are millennial. So nothing explains this better than the fact that this is how people wish to consume. Now, the market size is massive. Millennial travellers globally spend about $1,817 billion on travel. More close to home, Asian and Australian millennial travellers spend about $27 billion on tours and entertainment themselves. This is a massive market, and it's a market which is continually growing. So Quipmo itself is a fully device-enabled website. You simply search the kind of gear that you're looking for in the location that you're chasing something, and you book the transaction. And we take a 20% commission on every successful transaction through the site. We have numerous competitive advantages, obviously, over the incumbent industry of local hire businesses who rarely have an online channel to market. We have ease of use. We also have the right product mix between product categories, which means that people can find equipment on multiple occasions rather than simply very infrequently, as is very common with many travel businesses. We offer all sorts of insurances and protections, including customer rating system, to ensure that people have transparency. So we offer information that's not currently available and obviously seek to de-risk the customer experience compared to, say, someone walking off the street and seeking to hire something off a random shop. So we have launched in February of 2017. We've got 1,850 listings on the site. We're in 21 countries. We've got a dozen major strategic partnerships with World Sporting Tours and international, national and state peak sporting bodies across both able-bodied and adaptive sport, and about 65,000 social followers as well. In terms of market adoption, this is a pretty well-worn path, obviously, natural digital channels as well as direct to market. I've already talked about our supply agency agreements with major sporting bodies and world tours. Demand affiliate marketing will be critical, also with supporting events too.
My background, I've obviously spent plenty of time at school and also founding different startups. My background principally is senior executive roles in corporate finance and strategy, but I'm an avid surfer. So I've surfed all around the world and I truly understand the frustration of carting gear with me or trying to find gear if I'm looking for something else to do in a remote part of the world. I'm just about to close our pre-seed raise, and which will give us 15 months of runway to hit a gross ARR of 1.1 mil in month 15. And that will allow us obviously to build out the team focused on product to a certain extent and also really prove out the model in southeast Queensland, which is certainly God's country and has an incredible quantum of gear available and is truly the mecca for tourism in Australia. But given Corona, there is no time like the present, and I'm very bullish in terms of domestic tourism booms that are going to be occurring across the world. And to that end, I would love to accelerate ambitions to then move to a seed raise much faster, so I can further build out the team and obviously further focus on product, sales and marketing, and also move to a digital opportunity. And so what I mean by that principally is moving in key locations and actually moving downstream into physical capacity. There's two reasons for this. From a customer acquisition perspective, it means that we can actually acquire customers in the physical world from walk-in traffic, which radically reduces our CAC, if not actually meaning that our customer acquisition costs become a profit earning opportunity. And also from a valuation arbitrage play, it means that we get to turn low margin businesses into the valuation of a digital business. In terms of aspirations, end of year 3, we're looking for 16,000 listings at a utilisation rate of 5%. For some context, Airbnb have roughly 150,000 properties in Australia and an occupancy rate of 70%. So these are conservative numbers, but just measuring that out with an average transaction value of $50 per transaction, that's a gross ARR of 14.4 mil at the end of year 3. So there's this very big upside here. There's obviously an opportunity to capture, and I would welcome thoughts and insight on how I can best proceed. Thank you very much for your time.
Excellent. Well done, Chris. Love this business, by the way. I can see a huge personal need for it.
Thank you.
Our panelists, Jim or Andy, do you want to jump in first? Or?
My one, I mean, I think it's very good, and I think it's good. You're a very likable person, Chris. You present well. You can see the enthusiasm. You are clearly a business person. You can see that in the latter part. I think just that as you move out of Australia, obviously each country has its own different outdoor interests. I mean, you know, ski hire, not that great big in the UK. Obviously, there's a bits in Scotland. Great for surfing in Cornwall, but not really much else. But then the big thing, and you're absolutely right about the domestic holiday market, camping, paddle boards, canoes, all those sort of things. I think just have a flexible approach to about which country you're in and what is going to be for the peer-to-peer lending. But great, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice. Got time for one more. Anyone wants to jump in?
I speak too much. Somebody else.
I was going to say, from my perspective, great pitch, great idea. I think perfect opportunity, well-founded market, and actually, like you say, at the moment, what a great time to be in that market. I think there's one question I had in my mind was just around how do you kind of ensure the quality of the equipment you're using. So everyone's going to jump on this bandwagon. Everyone's going to want to be showing the kit they've had brand new they've bought this year, and everyone's had, you know, it's been impossible to buy a paddleboard over here, for example, for the last 4 months. So kind of great to be going higher and stuff, but how do you kind of guarantee that consistency? So I guess a riskier model, but I'm sure you've thought about the insurances and the feedback and everything and the controls you've got, but no, I think it's a great opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think,
very short answer to that is simply that we're effectively a market maker. So the gear owner sets their own prices, and so there's a very level of quality across gear across the platform itself.
Great.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity too. I actually invested in a company that does something similar, but not for equipment, for RVs actually. Now with COVID, this is a massive market. And one really key point, if you go international, is really the insurance. The insurance is so important, and how quickly you can replace anything that is broken. One thing we looked at there is a credit card where you do a co-branded card with an insurance company, that then if you do the payment via this card, A, you collect loyalty points, B, you create even a bigger community, and C, you're also insured. Sure. And those are things you may want to look at in terms of partnership. My background is working as Visa, so that's why I'm looking at this. But this is really interesting. Yeah. So also very good pitch.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Do you want one last one for the road?
Very quick, Francois, very quick.
So super quick. You are a marketplace. You have suppliers and demand. You're going to have to grow them together. It's the hardest thing to do. 98% of marketplaces fail. So therefore, amazing that you've already managed to do this. You're clearly on a great thing. Everybody loves the idea. Everybody wants to support it. Tick, tick, tick. Marketplaces is going to be a cost of acquisition of supplies, which I think you've nailed, at least for the east side of Australia, and a cost of acquisition of users. You have to show that you've got that under control. Otherwise, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt by most e-commerce and marketplace investors here. There's a lot of demand, and there's a lot of investment. So I think you're on something great with loads of interest. You're going to have to show some numbers in fine details.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
And that, folks, is a wrap. Fantastic work there, Chris. And great feedback from our panelists. I've seen a lot of pictures, and I think the points that they all made were absolutely spot on. I thought maybe before we wrap up, I'll just go through some of the key points that I noticed and that came through quite consistently through some of the 9 pitches. The first one, I think, is that you're all operating in really interesting areas. I mean, quite unique areas, but very interesting areas. And I think they're all big opportunities, and that's why you see a lot of passion from the panelists coming through in terms of how you can express this in a way that's clear and easy to understand. The first point to improve on, I think, is to simplify it. A lot of the presentations were quite complex, either visually complex or the way you explained it was complex as well. The grandma test is a great one to apply to what you say. And maybe the 3-year-old test is a good one to apply to the way it looks. The idea of giving it a hook, I think, is absolutely critical. There's lots of great ways to do that. I think Josephine did a nice job of that with asking a question to get the presentation off to a start. Check out TED Talks, tips. There's a good YouTube clip, 10 tips for TED Talks, which will give you some great ways to get a hook in there. But I mean, no one's going to write a check whether you've got a 3-minute pitch or a 1-hour pitch. It's going to be the start of 6, 7, 8, perhaps 20 or 30 different meetings and conversations. And all you want from that first interaction, your first 3-minute pitch, is a yes, let's talk further. So give that hook. Lose the buzzwords. Great tip there. Start with your why. I think that's always a good way to get a bit of a hook as well. Share your vision. People want to see, regardless of if they're an investor or a potential customer, they really want to see your vision, your passion, and how you see this growing. Some key numbers can help with that as well. I think I wouldn't necessarily hide away from revenue or growth projections. The whole story idea came through in some of the feedback from the panelists, which I think is an important one, possibly for all of you to pick up on. Everyone relates to a story, and you can tell people about the opportunity by it's a $221 billion market, or you can talk about your own personal frustration or the frustration of a customer that you're solving as well. That's something that Craig mentioned in the first session, where he had the name of a user of his product, and he would talk about that relentlessly. And then, yeah, I mean, those were the key tips that I took out. But finally, I just want to wrap up by saying a massive thank you to our panelists. Really valuable feedback there. Thanks, Andy, Jim, Alexandra, and Francois. Fantastic, comments. And also well done with working with the companies, Francois, on developing their decks as well. It looks like things have come a long way since the first versions that we saw only a week or two ago. Well done, everyone. That's really it from the panelists. I think the panelists are free to go. If everyone else can hang around, Elizabeth wants to do a quick wrap up and just explain next steps and all of that sort of stuff. But for now, thanks for the panelists, and we'll see you later.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you all, panelists.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
as Jeremy said, we have reached the end of our 3-day adventure. We really hope here at Newfound that you have found it useful and informative, practical, that you've learnt things that you'll be able to use as you think about expansion into the UK market. We'll have a wrap-up email later today with the slides from the various presentations that you've seen this morning, also with links. If you can't get in touch directly with any of the speakers, please circle back to me or to Calypso and we will make sure that we put you in touch. It's really important, particularly in terms of your introductions, that you go to Jeremy with your sort of top 10 companies you'd like to meet, or with the areas you're interested in. I know Revise Online, Jeremy can definitely connect you into Pearson, so that sounds like that could be a real great starting base for you guys here in the UK. What we'd like to do, if everyone's got sort of a spare 10 minutes, I'd really love to quickly go around the room and just get one reflection from each of you on how you found the last 3 days and what you thought you've got out of it, so that when we go back to present to the WA government on the 1st of October, we can sort of say to them, this was the feedback at the time, we've all got it fresh in our minds. So given that he's top of my screen, we'll go back to Chris from Quipmo.
Thank you. Yeah, look, thank you very much for a wonderful session today. Thoroughly enjoyable, and I think you know, the thing that impressed me most was the generosity of spirit of all of the speakers and everyone from Newfound as well, who obviously want everyone to succeed. So my thanks again.
Thanks, Chris. That's fantastic. And then I've got Michael.
Can you see us all?
I can hear you. We can't see you yet.
Okay. I've certainly found the last 3 days really insightful and also a huge learning curve in some aspects. I mean, it's definitely put in my mind that we've got a lot of work ahead of us in relation to putting a proposal or you know, just putting everything together in how to launch in the UK. I'm not so scared about the actual marketplace itself. It's more so just all of the, I guess, compliance and that type of stuff that comes, I guess, ahead of it.
And I think I got out of it was it's brilliant having everything one day after the other. You know, there's so many things we go and see with people, or we go to startup forums or whatever, and you learn about one thing, but you don't see it in line and get all that feedback straight at once. It's brilliant.
Fantastic. That's really helpful. Thanks, guys. And then we'll go to Josephine.
Hi, Elizabeth. I really enjoyed Francois's presentation the other day. I thought it was a really warts and all view and obviously jam-packed with years of VC frontline experience. So I thought he distilled his lots and lots of experience into that presentation. So I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed Duncan's presentation, just that, you know, as he was talking about having conversations that matter as an alternative to cost per lead. So I thought that was interesting. And I thought Celia today around her insights around decision makers, I thought that was really, really good as well. So they were my 3 favourite bits.
Fantastic. Thank you. Yes, we're huge fans of Francois here, even if he sounds scary at first. And then we'd like to call on Josh.
Hey, sorry. Yeah, I thought it was quite insightful, learned a few new things, and also got a few, I suppose our strategy and entry to the UK, a few of, well, the methods for our strategy was confirmed as, you know, a decent one for getting into the UK. So that was good to know. I didn't get the grilling I was hoping for after the pitch, but other than that, I've really enjoyed my time at this this event, London Tech Week. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Josh. And I'm sure if you contact Francois, he'd be happy to grill you separately. We'll go to the Revise Online team.
Thank you. Yeah, we found it quite an intensive week. We've certainly enjoyed it and taken a huge amount out of it. We feel it's fast-tracked some of those opportunities to make really solid connections in the UK marketplace and bring our product to there. So that's been, yeah, a huge learning curve for us and tremendously beneficial.
And I think we've been amazed by the caliber of the presenters that you've had. They obviously know exactly what they're doing in the spaces that they're in. And I imagine that their names open a lot of doors if we can tap into those. And so we're really thankful for that opportunity.
Brilliant, yes. And we pick our speakers not just because we think they're experts in their area, but because we know that they're really keen to connect and very happy to network and help out. So as I said, any of the speakers, feel free to reach out to them on LinkedIn, but also come back to us, to me and Calypso and the team for direct introductions at any point.
Right.
Calypso's there. We're still going through our list, Calypso. We'll come down to Tony.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I've just got to say that I've just learned a lot. It's the first time that I've actually been on a mission like this, and it was very intensive, but there's a lot of contacts there, and it really gives me a clear vision on how we can go into the UK, especially with our reseller model, which is successful in the US. So thank you for that. And it's just really great to see all the pictures, and some of them were really good, and most of them were good. I think I was coming close to the end, but it was really good to see it all. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Tony. And we'll go to Jess.
Yeah, it's been a really fantastic weekend to be part of. I think, as people have said, the openness of all the speakers and the caliber of them all was definitely a big highlight. I think they all had such a unique perspective, but also definitely on top of their game. They knew their stuff. Particularly Francois, I really appreciate. Whilst quite a really great presentation yesterday, I think it was. Potentially scared me a little bit, but no, it was really good to get that insight. And then the one today that Jeremy facilitated, I found that really, really helpful.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jess. And we'll go to your partner in crime, Daisy.
Thanks, Elizabeth. I'll echo everything that Jess said, and I think it's been really great to get some clarity around probably the differences that we need to embrace entering the UK market and understanding how we proposition ourselves in a slightly different way to the Australian market. So as Jess said, it's been really wonderful to have such great caliber of speakers and to get the feedback that we did on our pitch is really invaluable. So thank you very much.
Fantastic. And then last but not least, we have Terry.
Yeah, look, I think over the last 3 days, what I liked was the way it kicked off, just showing, it's quite amazing how you were able to cater to people at various stages of the, of our journey and development. I thought that was really good. And also to Newfound, on a daily basis, how you sort of encapsulated everything, communicated, that was really, really good. In terms of the individual presentations, Francois was really good. Luckily, I had my self-esteem destroyed years ago anyway, so it was good to see how the hackathon sort of mindset works, having raised money in public arenas before, so that was quite cool. And then I thought today's initial forum before we started to do our pitch, really good, fantastic offer to get introductions through the network. So all in all, I think you took us through, education and then potential go forward opportunities. So really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. And I lied, you were not last. We have Dylan and we have Erwin. So let's do Dylan first.
Yeah, hi. So I think this is just a really good concept. I'm actually in the UK right now. People didn't pick that up before, but I can just imagine what it's like being sort of stuck in Western Australia and not able to sort of see and have sort of feet on the ground here for a lot of you guys. So I think it's a really, really good concept to be able to sort of offer that pathway in. And then in terms of the content, I think you've chosen a really good mix of different perspectives, and no matter which way you're going to kind of come in, you'll take more value out of the investor part or the corporate partnership part. all of this. And also the sort of values of the people presenting has been really obvious, you know, that they really want to help and coach and mentor. So I think that's just, you know, a positive thing all around. Even though there's this sort of these very strong challenges put out there, there's also like, but we can help you through that. So yeah, thank you very much, and also thank you for the West Australian government for supporting this, I guess.
Great, thanks Dylan. And Erwin, if you are online, we'd love to hear your thoughts. I know you weren't able to participate in the whole week, but we'll definitely be sharing the videos. Maybe not there. I know that they've had a super busy week. So I'm going to throw to Mike as the representative from the Western Australian Government before Calypso closes out from Newfound. So Mike.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Yeah, it's been a fantastic week, and well done to each of you for your pitches today. I do have to pick up Chris Evans at this point. As a West Australian here on a West Australian delegation, God's country is not the Gold Coast. It's not the river. Okay, so let's just get that straight. Look, let's go right back to the beginning. You have applied for participation in this delegation. It was a competitive selection process. You were selected, and we're really delighted with what a diverse field of participants we've had. It's been really terrific to hear each of your stories and to learn a little bit about you as you've gone on. A virtual trade delegation has some advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are that you know, we can select people from widely dispersed geographic locations. So, you know, well done and thank you to Newfound for the range of presenters and panelists you've had. I'm sorry that most of them have left the call now, because I did really want to add my personal thanks to those panelists this morning for doing such a terrific job across the pitches. The disadvantage of a virtual trade delegation is, of course, that I haven't been able to have a beer with you and get to meet you personally, and that is a serious shortcoming in my view. And if you're ever in this neck of the woods, then please do drop into our office, and we'd love to meet you, and we'd love to continue to assist you. Charlotta is the lead in my office for this particular sector, and you know, hopefully you've seen her commitment and dedication and interest shine through in her comments and involvement in the last couple of weeks. And you know, she represents very much the way my office operates. So please do use us as you go forward in your particular journeys in this market. I will point out, though, that virtual delegation has also not allowed us to perhaps see Charlotta in her full glory. She's about 7.5 months pregnant at the moment, and will be leaving us very soon to go on maternity leave, but she will be replaced, and we'll make a seamless transition to her stand-in while she's off on maternity leave. And I know that that person will have the same passion and interest as Charlotta has shown. So yeah, I do look forward to continue to engage with you however we might in the future. And you know, please take up the opportunity you've got with the panelists and presenters you've had this week through Newfound to continue your engagement here. I think you've got some really good prospects, and it's up to you now to embrace them. So thank you to everybody for your participation. Thank you to Newfound for putting together such a great program. And yeah, look forward to keeping in touch with you all, and all the very best for the future. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. And I can attest, having spent some time in Mike's office, that he has excellent WA beer and excellent WA wine. So well worth a visit when you are next allowed to leave the country, and you can come up to London. And I'll throw to Calypso, who's the Chief Operating Officer of Newfound, to close the program, and thank you all.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and what a fantastic job you've done presenting this week. Thank you. You've been brilliant to lead this mission forwards with such confidence. And thank you to the WA team. You've been great to work with. Thank you for putting your trust in us to kind of launch what is the kind of first curated trade mission that we've done for a government trade investment arm. Thank you to Jeremy for a great program today. You're brilliant, and for bringing all those people together. So this week has been interesting. We've helped you to get to understand a little bit about the UK. We've learnt about you wanting to engage with potential customers and partners on the ground, getting boots on the ground and connecting with potential funding. So I hope we've been able to give you a bit of a taste of all of those different things and help to sort of unravel some of the complexities around exploring a new market and looking at your potential market entry. You know, on a personal basis, I just want to say, you know, similar to Mike, you know, if you are kind of interested in progressing your conversations around market entry in the UK, then know you have an instant family on the ground and that you can pick up the phone or email us at any time, and we're always here to help and offer impartial advice whether you choose to, you know, be supported in your journey or not. We will provide access to all of the speakers that have been presenting on this program, and we'll follow up with an email which captures the key highlights from the program, connects you with everybody, and then it's up to you how you want to kind of progress forwards with that. So just wanted to say thank you to you all. Clearly brilliant disruptors in your market, doing really interesting things. I see a lot of potential there, and look forward to supporting you on that journey. So go forwards, be bold, and good luck. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Calypso. And I think it would be nice if we all turned our cameras on so we could wave goodbye. Bye, everyone. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.